Alright, so I'm going to walk you through the steps on how to use Photoshop to add textures to your layouts. So first of all, you need to find where your layouts are. They should be in your 3ds models folder, and I have a folder for my robot, and scene assets, images. Inside of that you should have these PNG files that you created from the layouts. Okay. If you do not have Photoshop, I'm going to kind of walk through the steps and what you should do to move to a different computer that does, because some computers in the lab do not have Photoshop. But you'll know if you have it if you go to the Start menu on the bottom, and then it should be listed right here at the top. So Photoshop. I'm going to go ahead and open mine. It'll take a while. If you don't have it, what I suggest is you go to Google Drive and create a folder for 3DSMax, and just copy all of your layout files that you need into that Google Drive folder, and then from there you can download them, and from a different computer in class you can open Photoshop and do kind of what I'm talking about. Alright, so I'm going to pause this until Photoshop gets open, then we'll pick up from there. Alright, another thing you can do while you're waiting for Photoshop to open is I've posted a couple of files for the textures that I took off of the original drawing, so the face and the body, and you can use these in Photoshop to help you texture those pieces, and I'll kind of show you that. So download both of these, so when you get to that point you'll know you'll have the files to work from, okay, while Photoshop is opening. Alright, so I have Photoshop open, and what I'm going to do is just work through one of these layouts first. I think I'll do the head first. So File, and then Open on the top, and you're going to navigate to your 3dsMax folder, find your robot folder, and these should be on your desktop. Scene assets, images, and go ahead and choose the head.png that you created for your head layout. I'll pause while that's opening up. Hold on. Okay, so here's the layout that I see. I'm going to view, kind of zoom in a little bit. Let's see. There we go. Maybe zoom in a little more. I'm just zooming in so I can see my lines a little bit better. Alright. Okay, so this is pretty much the layout I had created for my model. Yours might look similar, it might look different. It just depends on kind of what's going on with your layout. The first thing you want to do is change this to RGB mode. It's indexed because it's a PNG file. So you're going to go to Image, Mode, and change it. Instead of index color, you want it to be RGB color. The next step is you're going to add a new layer, and there's a new layer button. It's kind of right below my recording screen. You probably can't see that, but it's it looks like a piece of paper with a kind of a corner flipped over it. Let's see if you can also right click. No, let's see up here if I can use one of these tools. No. Alright, so you'll find it on the bottom. There's tools, and it's for me it's just left of the trash can. There's the new layer. So I'm going to click a new layer, and the order of the layers kind of matter. So the layer on top of the background is the one I'm going to draw on first. Alright, so you can draw directly on this if you want to, and as long as whatever you're drawing stays within these green lines, it'll be applied to the model. So for example, you can use the paintbrush or the paint tool. I'm going to use the paintbrush real quick. You can see the size of your paintbrush. And the color of the paintbrush, let's see, I think it's just over here on the color swatch. So currently I think this guy is going to be black. So if you want it to be some sort of gray, you can select that. And then you're just going to paint directly on top of what you're working from. So you can use the paintbrush. You can also use a rectangle tool. Let's see, not that one. Let's do this guy right here. So this you can paint with rectangles instead, and sometimes that, for what we're doing, that might make a lot more sense. Let's see, fill, stroke. Okay, my computer's kind of freezing here, so hold on. Alright, let me try that again. You can see I've created a couple of, whenever you do that, you get a new layer. So I'm going to delete this layer. I'll delete my first rectangle. And the second one. So I don't have Unity open, but my computer's still really slow. So make sure you don't have, there we go. It's kind of catching up. Alright, so if you create a rectangle that's going to cover, this would be the side of my robot's head there. Oops, undo. Once you create it, you have to go back to the Move tool, and then you can hit Control T on this guy, and then that allows you to reshape it. So once you create it, you can reshape it however you like. Alright. You can also use Edit and Transform Skew. Skew allows you to move one of the corners in, more like a trapezoid, to kind of match the shape a little bit. Alright, and then I'm just going to go back to Control T. That allows me to free transform. So there's these transform tools are all under Edit. You have free transform, and you have transform scale and skew. All right, so let's see what I can do here. That's a pretty good match. So you just kind of want to match the shape of this guy. Okay. Once that's done, you can click on that, and then you can, if you want it to be a little bit more, you can change this, but ultimately I'm going to hide this background, and it'll be just like this. So you're not going to see the green or the black on your model. So you're just using it as a reference kind of to draw these things. So you can also, once you have one of these, you can right click on the method. Let's see, I'm sorry, not the method, but the layer, and you can duplicate it. You make a copy of it. And then with the copy selected, you can move that one up here. And then you can transform rotate. And you can rotate directly like that. Get it to kind of match up. Okay, it's pretty close. All right, and then you can free transform, move it a little bit. It's okay if you go over a little bit. All right. And it's fine if these kind of overlap. It's going to end up being, like I said, it'll map pretty much to that face. So in general, it's okay. And then I think I'm going to edit skew. All right, so it doesn't have to be exactly like what I have, but that's something you can use with rectangles if you don't want to paint with the paintbrush. And sometimes it ends up being a little bit more clear how that's set up. Okay. So you could continue shaping these with rectangles and or painting. All right. The part that is the face, let me show you that. So I'm going to go File, Open. And I already downloaded the face texture. Get to that from my desktop. I think it's in here. Let's see. Alright, so there it is, face PNG. So you download those from Classroom and open them up in Photoshop. Alright, this opens in a separate window, but you can click and drag. So I'm going to click and drag this background and I'm going to drop it in here and say yes. And what happens is I get a new layer. So there's my face. Alright, and I'm just going to start by rotating this guy. So edit, transform, rotate. You can see rotation up here as well. So once you start rotating this around, you'll figure out, oh, you can just type it in there. So -90. There we go. And then I can grab the move tool, kind of move it down, and you're going to be using the I guess free transform to start to make it smaller. Get it roughly the size that you want. And basically I'm going to match the bottom part here, and then I'll skew the top of it. That'll probably be the easiest way. Alright, so that's good. Edit, transform, skew. And now you can grab the corners. And let's see, free transform. Alright, so something like that. Just so long as it's covering up what you want. And you can have a little bit of overlap. It's going to be fine. But you want to try to make sure you cover up that whole area. Okay, so now I have the face there. I have these two sides. These other pieces, like I said, you can draw rectangles around. And if you want them to just be all gray, I'll show you a fast way to do that. So let me hit enter. So the rest of it, say I just want to be gray. What I'm going to do then is I'll create a new layer, and I'll just choose edit and fill. And normally it's going to fill with this top color here, but you can choose. You can say foreground color, which is the top color, or you can decide what color you like, or you can select, color of something else. Click OK. Alright, so that covers up everything, and then you just kind of put that in the order here, and then you have everything you need. Okay, so you want to basically cover up all your stuff. You can continue designing this. I still have these rectangles that you can see over here, and if you want to do some details with this, you can click on the opacity for these rectangles and make it somewhat see-through. And then you can take either your paintbrush or some other thing. I'm gonna try the paintbrush, and I'll choose dark color. Let's see. There we go. Hold up. It's not letting me color this. Hold up. Alright, there it is. So I want to make the size of this a little bit smaller. Okay, that's good. Alright, so then you can go and kind of